What if raising chickens got you a $600 fine? What if it led to police tearing down your coop? In Wyoming, Caleb Dunn faced an HOA nightmare. But then, they discovered he's the state's new governor. Stay tuned for a story of rural passion, injustice, and a powerful twist of justice. In the wide-open suburb of Sagebrush Meadows, Wyoming, the plains stretched endlessly. The scent of sage filled the air. Here, 48-year-old Caleb Dunn lived a life of humble dedication. He was the newly elected governor of Wyoming. Caleb had bought his $320,000 ranch-style home in 2024. It was a peaceful retreat where he embraced his love for rural living. On the crisp morning of September 15, 2026, Caleb tended to his backyard. He had a small flock of chickens. Their cheerful clucks echoed through the yard. The rustle of feathers filled the air as they pecked at the ground. Caleb had built a simple coop for them. It was a symbol of his commitment to sustainable living. Sagebrush Meadows was governed by a strict homeowners association. It was led by 63-year-old President Marjorie Klein, a former real estate agent. Marjorie enforced rules with an iron fist. She saw the neighborhood as a tidy suburban oasis. No farm animals, no mess, and certainly no chickens that could disrupt the peace. The HOA bylaws were strict. No livestock or poultry allowed, they stated. A $600 fine per violation. Marjorie applied this rule without mercy. She believed chickens belonged on farms, not in suburbs. That morning, she walked through the neighborhood with her clipboard. The wind rustled the papers. She spotted Caleb's coop through his fence. The clucking chickens were a clear violation in her eyes. Marjorie's face tightened. She adjusted her glasses. "Chickens in my neighborhood?" she muttered. "That coop is coming down today." She pulled out her phone. Her fingers dialed the local police. The call connected with a faint beep. At 10 a.m., Caleb scattered feed for his chickens. The grains crunched under their beaks. Suddenly, the sharp wail of police sirens broke the morning calm. Caleb looked up. His boots scuffed the dirt. A police cruiser rolled into the cul-de-sac. Its tires kicked up dust. Red and blue lights flashed against the clear sky. Two officers stepped out. Their boots thudded on the ground. The lead officer, 46-year-old Greg Larson, adjusted his hat as he approached. "Sir, we've had a complaint about unapproved livestock," Officer Larson said. His voice was gruff. It cut through the clucking of the chickens. Caleb's brow furrowed. He wiped his hands on his jeans. "A complaint? These are my chickens. They're on my property," he said. His voice was steady, but firm. His words carried across the dusty air. Marjorie had followed on foot. She stepped forward with a stern expression. She clutched a fine notice in her hand. Her clipboard was tucked under her arm. "Your chickens violate HOA rules. They're a nuisance," she declared. Her tone was sharp. "That's a $600 fine, and we're dismantling the coop." Caleb's eyes narrowed. He crossed his arms. "This is my land. I'm raising them for fresh eggs," he countered. His words overlapped with the sound of Marjorie tearing the fine notice from her pad. The paper ripped with a harsh sound. Officer Larson wasn't moved. He was known in Sagebrush Meadows for siding with the HOA. "If you don't comply, I'll have to take further action," he snapped. His tone was cold. He motioned to his partner. They began to dismantle the coop. The wood creaked as they pulled it apart. The chickens flapped their wings in panic. Their clucks turned to frantic squawks. The noise echoed through the yard. Caleb watched in disbelief. His heart pounded. Dust swirled around him. The chickens scattered across the yard. Their feathers floated in the air. "You can't do this!" Caleb shouted. His voice rose over the chaos. Officer Larson turned. He unhooked his handcuffs from his belt. The metal clanked ominously. "Step back, sir, or you'll be arrested," he warned. His voice was low. Caleb took a deep breath. He reached into his pocket. The rustle of fabric was loud in the tense air. He pulled out his phone. "I think you'll want to rethink that," he said. His tone was calm but firm. He dialed a number. The phone rang twice. A voice answered on the other end. "This is Governor Dunn," Caleb said. His voice carried the weight of his office. "I need to speak with the sheriff. Now." Officer Larson froze. His handcuffs dropped to his side. The clank of metal was faint in the dust. Marjorie's eyes widened. Her fine notice slipped from her fingers. The paper fluttered to the ground. "Governor?" she stammered. Her voice trembled. She realized her mistake. Caleb continued his call. "Sheriff, I've got officers dismantling my property," he said. His words were clear. "They're acting on an HOA complaint. I need this handled immediately." The officers exchanged a glance. Their faces paled. Larson spoke into his radio. The static crackled with his urgent message. "Dispatch, we have a situation. Stand down," he said. His voice was shaky. Neighbors began to gather. They stood at the edge of their yards. Their murmurs grew louder. They watched the scene unfold. The chickens still clucked nervously in the background. Caleb ended his call. He turned to Larson and Marjorie. His expression was composed. His governor's authority was undeniable. "You've overstepped your bounds," he said. His tone was measured. "The HOA has no right to ban poultry on private property. And you, officer, have no grounds to destroy my coop." Larson nodded. His face was flushed with embarrassment. "I'm sorry, Governor. We didn't know," he said. His voice was low. He and his partner stepped back. They retreated to their cruiser. The engine rumbled as they drove off. The dust settled behind them. Marjorie tried to salvage her position. Her voice was shaky. She bent to pick up the fine notice. "The bylaws still stand," she said. Her tone was desperate. The paper crinkled in her hands, but Caleb shook his head. "You'll be hearing from my office," he said. His voice was a quiet promise. He turned to his chickens. He began to calm them. Their clucks softened as he scattered more feed. The next day, Caleb's office launched an investigation. The HOA's actions were under scrutiny. The rustle of legal documents filled the governor's office. The investigation moved quickly. It uncovered multiple complaints against the HOA. Residents had long felt oppressed by Marjorie's rules. A week later, a public statement was issued. The governor's office held a press conference. Microphones buzzed as Caleb spoke. The HOA's rule was an overreach, he said. His voice was firm. It violated property rights. The fine against Caleb was officially voided. The sound of the paper being torn was symbolic. The crowd outside the state capitol cheered. Their applause echoed through the air. Marjorie and the HOA board faced consequences. The investigation led to reforms. Marjorie was forced to resign. Her resignation was announced at the next HOA meeting. A new president was elected. The community's freedom was restored. They could now raise chickens without fear. Caleb rebuilt his coop. The wood creaked as he hammered it together. His chickens clucked happily once more. The scent of sage still filled the air. Sagebrush Meadows became a symbol of rural rights. Caleb stood in his yard. He watched his flock peck at the ground. A sense of justice warmed him in the crisp Wyoming air. And so, a small flock of chickens became a battle for justice in Sagebrush Meadows, Wyoming. Governor Caleb Dunn turned the tables on an overzealous HOA. How would you fight for your rural passions? What do you think? Should HOAs control your backyard? Share your thoughts. Join us next time for another tale of justice. Until then, stand up for what's right. Thank you for listening.